Welcome in, sim racing fans, to the Nevada desert. The stage is set for 150 laps of high-speed chess here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Welcome in, everyone. Full Throttle Performance Sim Racing Cup Series here live on Stam Studio Network. Named Sean Stam, producing, directing, and commentating the show. Tonight, drivers take on one of the most demanding and intermediate tracks on the schedule. Tire wear, lane choice, long run speed. It's all going to come into factor here tonight, especially we do have that stage points given out to lap 75 of this race. 3 tire sets available, 0 fast repairs, 100% fuel rating, 100% fuel as well. Welcome in. Before we get into a little bit of race information and starting grid standings, we'll take a look at some point standings. Joshua Susie, Joshua Gaiman, and Matthew Fitz. Susie fresh off of his race win last weekend out at Phoenix Desert. He's going to try to go back-to-back here, kind of gamble one away. Joshua Gaiman there, P2 in the points. Matthew Fitz, P3. Nice start to the season for Fitz as he continues to have a great, consistent start to the season, only sitting about 28 points back there from Joshua Gaiman. Also have Ken Baum Jr. up there in the top 5 point standings. Tyler Massey, Tyler Rush, Ryan Smith, Dylan Clark, Daniel Higgins, and Brett Strickler. Strickler with a nice run last weekend as well, finishing P2, rocketing him up into P10 in the point standings. Taking a look at our starting grid tonight, brought to you by Stam Studio Network Racing Broadcast. It's going to be a fun race tonight. We've got a 33 driver grid. Troy Wagaman Jr. fast as heck in practice session. He'll slap it up on the pole with a 29.0. Joshua Susie finishing just where he left off last week. Almost where he left off, coming away with that race win. He'll start P2. Chad Griggs out of Scott Thompson Racing. He'll start P3. Willie Hobart starting at the outside row of row number 2. Kevin Click out of turn 2 Terribles, he'll start P5. Nice qualifying effort for him, as well as Anthony Bay. Stan Mayberry, Ryan Smith, Ken Baum Jr. Very, very fast in practice. Keep an eye on that cat tonight. Meow. Andrew May starts P10. Joshua Gaiman, Kevin Gibney Jr. That is 10th through 12th. 13th through 24th belong to Jeremy Zarfos out of the Zarfos Photography Ford Mustang. Tyler Schell, David Smeal Jr. starting P15 out of Nitro Racing, one of the many drivers out of Nitro Racing. Kyler McCarthy also out of Nitro. He'll start right beside one of his many teammates. Dylan Clark, he'll start P17. Eric L. Schneck and Chris Lynn start P19. Jimmy Barr, Stefan Oberstadt, nice race for him last week as well, finishing 5th position. He'll start P21. Matthew Fitz, we have seen it time and time again. We'll have to see if he's got the long run pace tonight in that number 69 as he'll start P22. Daniel Higgins starts P23. Nathan Burnett rounding out P24. Keep them going. Ryan Mueller, Austin Griffey, Brian Strickler, Caitlin Haight, Dean Clavitt, Michael Sheridan, George Wood, Dakota Kuhn, and Gary Wright rounding out our 33, count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not going to count them all, but 33 drivers. It is a packed house out here tonight, not only on the racetrack, but as well as in the stands and YouTube land as well. Appreciate you all joining out here tonight. Already have Terry Ricardo, one of our YouTube members. Ricardo out there out of Argentina, joining in for some NASCAR Cup Series, a Full Throttle Performance Racing. Now, if you are just now joining in with us, it has been a hot day out in the desert, but track temps, they're still relatively cooler. Temperature ambient above us at about 70 degrees, and then track temps at around 90 to 100. We also have partly cloudy conditions up in the skies, and up above us, we will also have stage break, lap 75. There's not going to be a caution thrown, but we will hand out points there. So keep an eye on things to start to ramp up through there as well. Fuel runs 100% fuel, so that should put us at or around 60. You could maybe get 65 laps here on a tank, depending on how much fuel saving you have started throughout the start of the race. Name's Sean Stam here live on Stam Studio Network. Appreciate you all joining in. Let's go gambling out in the desert. Troy Wagaman Jr. Field is in his hands. Got the green flag out and Barney throws it loud in the crowd. Side by side through the pack. It was still side by side for the race lead till we finally got going into turn 3, and it's Joshua Susi who's able to take it on by him. Willie Hobart, fresh off of his week off, we'll call it last week. Hobart already backing up into the P3, and somebody really smacked the wall there coming out of 4. Keep an eye on these cooler tire temps, these cooler tire pressures. We're gonna try to build them up here and try to get this green flag run going as these drivers possibly right now trying to struggle for a little bit of front end grip as we now head back into turn 3. Still Joshua Susi out for that race lead. Wagaman Jr. falls back, and now it's side by side between Bay and Hobart. Hobart will fall back to P4. That's where he started. As you see Anthony Bay, that white Chevrolet Camaro, number 45, make his way on by. Fast short run speed in that number 45. Anthony Bay looking 3 spots gains to drop into green. We saw that we saw that last night in our Bump and Run Cup series. Short run versus long run speed. This is worn out asphalt. All the turns out here extremely bumpy, as well as extremely different between one another. Entrance, mid-corner, and exit could not be more different between one another here. Still battling that. We got about single file up between the top, about 9 to 10 cars. Remember I mentioned Ken Baum Jr., very fast in practice. He's still continuing to run that position he started in as we hop on board with him. Going to try to look down into the inside of that Jeremy Zarfos photography, number 25 of Kevin Click. That one will click right there on the inside line, but don't wash it up there mid-corner. It's so easy if you don't get that white line hooked. That NASCAR Next Gen machine will get tight throughout the corner, and you will be knocking all over that right rear of the driver you're trying to pass there on the inside line. It's also a hornet's nest back out here between Dylan Clark, David Smeal Jr. Looks like Kyla McCarthy's in there as well. We're still, all by side out here between the whole. Look at this. Even David Smeal Jr. out here trying to make something happen on Joshua Gaiman and Dylan Clark up there in front of him. My goodness, it's 33 drivers on this whole 1.5 mile raceway. Still, 1/10 of a second separating this time. It's Chris Lynn, Jeremy Zarfos going into the corner, trying to close that gap up there into the gap in front of him. So not missing anything out into the race lead. Joshua Susi was able to get the race lead off and into turn number 3. On that opening lap of the race, it still dropped Troy Wagaman Jr. back to P2. Anthony Bay continues to run P3. Still got Willie Hobart. Nice start to the race, continuing to run where he started. Stan Mayberry, 2 positions gained here early on. Keep an eye on the 48. He showed a lot of pace last night, Bump and Run Cup Series. One main financial Chevrolet Camaro, looking rocking and rolling. Bringing the pace out here with them tonight in the desert. Battle up for P2 is starting to heat up and boil like a crawfish boil up there. It's Wagaman Jr. and Anthony Bay starting to close that gap. We're on board with Wagaman Jr. and look at something that we're going to have to compare and contrast quite a few times. Look at these different racing lines. It's still relatively early in this run, but already you can see Anthony Bay out there, the driver 45, white Chevrolet Camaro, continuing to offset his race line from that back bumper of Troy Wagaman Jr. Him doing that, he's allowing himself to get all sorts of clean air up in the front nose of that Chevrolet Camaro. We might have one going around there. Oh, we do have an. Oh no, Stan Mayberry is going to get the Sean and Tater curse. Man, just as I started talking about how much speed and pace he had last night, he's going to have contact, and that didn't start with Stan Mayberry. That was, I think, out of the exit of turn 4. I saw a puff of tire smoke as we were on board with Troy Wagaman Jr. I think it was about maybe 7 or 8 car lengths back that somebody started to spin it, and then all heck broke loose here. You see, it could have been even David Smeal Jr. as he turned into it looks like that was a trampoline. That number 27 kept bouncing, backing up in the racetrack for Smeal. Excuse me, that's not Smeal Jr. That was the possibly Chad Griggs here. Let's try this one again. So there's already the puff of smoke. Goes to 27. No, not 27. It looks a lot like it. Chad Griggs 35. Well, it's shown as the 27, but that is actually that number 35 of Chad Griggs. Oh man, hard on the brakes for who's that there? Dean. Oh, here comes Dean Clavitt. That's what he needed out there as well, as he was already shown quite a few seconds back and through the pack. So that's going to allow him to catch right back and up and into it. We're still trying to look for the initial sort of cause of this caution. Now, we did see that 48 of Stan Mayberry started. Oh, well, there it is right there. If not a bank, and then a boot. Contact with that Dean Clavitt machine. Chad Griggs got, excuse me, there. And then you see it's once, twice, thrice, and then it eventually ends up sending Stan Mayberry around. Here's going to be another look at it. A little late to it. Two drivers trying to fight for the same bit of real estate onto turn number 4. And they both make contact pretty much right in front of that start-finish line. Stan Mayberry, luckily for him, he kind of spins down and off of the racetrack. Oh, and then number 6, Eric L. Schneck. Hard contact there on the outside safer barrier. Let's hop on board with Eric and see what he saw. Oh! You can't fault him for it. I mean, just trying to miss that as he's going probably, what, 180 out there out of the turn. Started to see it up there in front of him. Unfortunately, that is one turn 2 terrible Toyota Camry down. Take another look here at Stan Mayberry and the 35 of Chad Griggs going at it. Oh, right in front of the, is that the number 21 there? It was of Ryan Smith, and Ryan got, that was a handful that he almost had. All right, we're still single file racing, so let's take one more look at this, and this time I think we will have to take Ryan Smith. He's rocking the free Willie Hobart machine. Ryan, we got good news here for you. Willie Hobart is free after his 1 race suspension, back and on the racetrack here with us. Let's see if we can find this one again. Here it is on board with him. Oh, just barely. Later. Thank you very much, says Ryan Smith. All right, so this is our first caution out of this 150-lap race. Just now joining us, Sean Stam, here live on Stam Studio Network. No, unfortunately, no Justin Yamentator tonight, as he is helping, I think he's helping Buddy move out there. So he'll be back with us next week. Hopefully you can put up with me for at least, what, 130 more laps, or probably around that area. Back out here, let's go with a quick rundown of the top 10. Joshua Susi, he got the race lead on lap 1 of the race and really put down a nice gap as he's looking to go back-to-back in this Full Throttle Performance Next Gen Sim Racing Series. Jeremy Zarfos photography machine of Troy Wagaman Jr., pole sitter, he'll drop to P2, but can he make that outside line work just like Joshua did this race restart? It's Anthony Bay. It's also Willie Hobart, fresh off of his week off. That number 13 has shown some nice pace tonight, starting P4 once again. It's Ken Baum Jr., Kevin Click, as well as Ryan Smith, Kevin Gibney Jr., Dylan Clark, and Andrew May rounding out that top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Get up, stand up for your life. Don't you ever give up the fight. Let's go back gambling in the desert. Green flag is back out. This time it's in Joshua Susi's hands. Nice start for that inside line, and here you see some side-by-side between Ken Baum Jr. and that number 20 of Troy Wagaman Jr. Ken Baum Jr., a driver very fast in practice, showed a hell of a heap of pace. He has now worked his way up and into 3rd place. That driver of the number 2, Jeremy Zarfos photography and turn 2 Terribles machine. He's continued to wrap that apron, and it looks like he is knowing what he is doing. He's starting to draw a bead on Anthony Bay, battle for P2. Here comes Kevin Click trying to dive that inside line, cut the dog leg, and not necessarily in half, but trying to cut that distance and going back into turn 1. That's going to shorten his entrance going into turn 1, but nice move there for that number 25, Kevin Click. Can he keep that speed rocking, rolling? Here comes the momentum. Here comes a little bit of side draft and help for Dylan Clark. Dylan Clark not opting to help the back bumper of the 25, as now Dylan Clark gets tightened through the corner. Dylan, and that's off pack number 34, kind of a John Deere green and yellow machine. It's single file up and into just running right into about 9th and 10th position. Back behind Dylan Clark, who we're on board with here. Joshua Gaiman looks to make his way back up and through the pack after he continues to work his way through the pack. Gaiman up to P8 now after starting P11. Joshua Gaiman is our points P2 sitting driver coming into this race, trying to reel in Susie up there for the race lead and the point standings. It was a whole heap of a hornet's nest as we look back in here, back in 13th, 14th, and 15th position. Tyler Schell is in the meat of the sandwich. He's got Andrew May up in there in front of him. Matthew Fitz hopefully has his popcorn bucket out right now as he is in a, my goodness, they were starting to drive it out there. Now they're starting to, oh man, there was, as soon as I say it, there goes a little wash up the racetrack out there for the number 21 of Ryan Smith, a driver who has a little bit of front damage on that left front. As there, you can also see Kyler McCarthy joins this picture as well. They'll continue to look 2 wide, no 3 wide here just yet. Something that we'll definitely continue to talk about from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the multiple different lines of racing. You can run the middle, you can run the bottom, and you can run all the way up top, but it's all depending on what your tires are willing to do. If you continue to see, watch that number 21. He is sliding it through the corners. His right front and right rear probably not going to be too happy with him if this continues to go green flag running on this stint. Kyler McCarthy, another driver that you can see there, kind of washes up the corner there just a little bit. You know what time it is. Of course we got it. It's the Kyler McCarthy foot and face cam there with him. Let's see what he does here in turns 3 and 4. Just throw it down a gear, keep it rolling in 5th. He is going to keep it rolling in 5th and using that middle line. He's going to have a run and a half. Kyler McCarthy on the inside of Ryan Smith battles for 14th and 15th. Kyler McCarthy, is he quite clear just yet? He is. As a matter of fact, that's going to drop Ryan Smith back and into 16th position as Kyler's going to bring Daniel Higgins right there up there with him. Nice start for the race for Daniel Higgins as well, running in the 15th position. That Chase Elliott, Napa, no, Chase Elliott's Kelly Blue Book Auto Parts machine out of Tampa, Florida, rocking and rolling. Daniel Higgins continuing to work his way up and into that battle between that Matthew Fitz and Kyler McCarthy for 13th and 14th. Back out here to the race lead, still haven't missed much as Susie is working this clean air over and over and over. Anthony Bay still runs P2, Ken Baum Jr. Battle right now is going at it between, now Troy Wagaman Jr. is going at it with Joshua Gaiman. How about Joshua Gaiman tonight? We might have to give him the nickname. Say it with me. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Tonight's nickname for Joshua Gaiman is Cotton Eye Joe. That Santa Cruz Syndicate Chevrolet Camaro. Last time we talked about him, he was running that back in about 7th to 8th position, starting out there out of the top 10, currently running top 4. Gaiman comes into this race second in the point standings, and he continue to reel in Joshua Susie for that battle for 1, 2, and 3, and the point standings. Let's hop on board with Gaiman here. We hopped on board with Kyler McCarthy a couple laps ago. Continues to run up in that 5th gear, also continuing to kind of run that middle line. Through 3 and 4 here, doing the same. Well, he's going to try to wrap that apron just a little bit more. And something that I am taking note here right now is, I mean, we are running the 100% fuel strategies and not 50, not strategies, but tanks, I guess you could call it. Last night, the Bump and Run series, as we hopped on board with quite a few drivers, they were, as we have seen from quite a few of these intermediate racing series, tracks that I've done broadcasts for. This is our, I think it's our kind of our first real test of the season. You can really start to see where you're at. But back to that fuel strategy calls, we saw quite a few drivers actually kicking the clutch pedal or completely killing the ignition going into turns 1 and turns 3. Ken Baum Jr., we're back on board with here, not opting to do that here just yet, but it's so early on in this first run. We've also had that caution there, lap, what was it? We've had one caution, so that will definitely we'll probably make about 65 laps on a tank, depending if you want to short run it or long run that strategy. I think long running, if you're not losing too much speed and pace on those Goodyear Racing Eagles, a long run strategy might be the one, the race running strategy It all depends on just how much speed, pace, grip, momentum you're able to carry through the corners, as well as clean air that you're able to have plastered all over the front nose of that Chevrolet Camaro, at least for our race leader this time, Joshua Susi, continuing to lead almost every single lap here tonight, the Full Throttle Performance Next Gen Sim Racing Series. We're live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Enjoy a quick little Stam Studio Network crank it up as this battle for the race lead is starting to heat it up. Be right back with you up in the booth, Sean Stam. Slowly crank this puppy back down. Sean's down, back up with you up here in the booth. And man, Stefan Oberstadt, David Smeal Jr., Andrew May McCarthy, all still separated by less than 0.2 of a second. Brett Strickler in this battle as well, as is Matthew Fitz, all within the same camera shot. Looks like Brett Strickler just got a little friendly with that outside wall, but continues to gain positions. Right now, our biggest mover gained since the drop of the green flag of 13 positions. Brett is rock and rolling, keeping that outside line moving, grooving. We've continued to talk about the different racing lines, the different fuel strategies. Talked about we only have 3 tire sets available, so that's really going to determine if you can try to make your fuel runs happen out there as well. We saw it there with what ended up coming out to some different strategy calls last night to end up actually winning the race. We saw some 2 tire pit calls, as well as 4 tire pit calls out at the end of the race. That's exactly what it sounds like. It's easy math to do. It's if you spend a little bit longer time there in pit lane, it's going to help you out in the longer run as you have more speed, more grip and momentum available, and your Full Throttle Performance Next Gen Sim Racing machine. As I mentioned, it's a little bit. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a gamble, but it's risk versus reward. I think as we continue to look a little bit closer towards this first this first pit stop happening. Well, about in 30 laps from now, we will continue to see 4 tire pit stops up until at least the last stop of the race. Because at that point, there's just no point trying to risk something like that. Now, Joshua Gaiman, well, I will go back on that real quick. The caution changed everything, right? So that can definitely make or break your whole strategy call, as well as when a caution is potentially thrown. I'll get back to that race strategy call here in just a moment, because Joshua Gaiman, during our Crank It Up section, actually got back and around and up into P2, bringing kind of Ken Bond Jr. up and in there with him. Dylan Clark passing also Anthony Babe, that's for P4, but right now the battle's starting to heat up for P2 and 3. Ken Baum Jr. looking around the inside. If we go to one of those blimp camera shots, as you can see just as they come across the stripe, Joshua Gaiman, a little bit longer way around the racetrack. He's going to open up that corner. That's going to help that momentum, though, as he continues to be on that outside line. The side draft between the 2 and the 61. Ken Baum Jr. drifts a little bit up the racetrack. Joshua Gaiman says, I'm here, I am there, and he is going to rocket down that back straightaway, clear just for a brief moment back into turn 3, but Ken Baum Jr. short away around the racetrack. It's a little bit less steep down there, so careful to wash up and off of the corner. Ken Baum Jr. doing an excellent job not to do just that. And to be up on board with the driver I can, watch the hands out there, listen in to this throttle. You heard that slight dip in the gas for Ken Baum Jr., as well as saw the hands cut a little bit more to the left. He saw that he was about to make contact with Joshua Gaiman. He had to get out of the gas, and that's exactly what you see happen. That is why he is not down there and still on that inside line. tighter way around the racetrack, shorter way around the racetrack, but it takes a little bit more out of you as the driver, as well as in through the tires there. Real quick, I'm starting to see this battle between David Smeal Jr., Kyler McCarthy, and the 25, Kevin Click. They are all going at it. It's still this about 9th to 17th battle, all separated by 1, if not 2 tenths back. Smeal Jr., Kyler McCarthy, Andrew May. That's gonna mess with me. I'm already telling you right now. Andrew May and Anthony Bay. Andrew continues running P12 after starting 10th, and then Anthony Bay. My goodness, he's continued to run up there top 5 in the number 41. Nice night for Anthony Bay. Continues to run up there, beating quite a few drivers at a nice run in the last season, as well as in the point standings. I don't see Tyler Massey racing with us tonight, and that's big because Tyler Massey was once again visiting Victory Lane Bump and Run Cup Series last night. Unfortunately, fortunately for Tyler Massey, he's got some work lined up and headed his way, and I think that's why he's not going to be, I think, quite a few races with us on Wednesday night. So it's unfortunate for Tyler, as well as, I think, me as well. He's running one of my paint schemes, but I think that just opens up the door for a driver like, say, like Tyler Rush. We got Ryan Smith, Dylan Clark, even Daniel Higgins, a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, even Brett Strickler, who runs 10th within the point standings. It just opens up the door for even more of these quick drivers, giving them an opportunity to show their speed, pace, and momentum as we continue to work our way through this season. See Brett Strickler. I continue to watch that number 30. There he is, right side of your screen. We're now on board with David Smeal Jr. David Smeal Jr. has also been a man on a mission, continuing to work his way through the pack, now sitting P10, but I have kept my eye on that 38, still our biggest mover since the drop of the green. And Brett, he continues to do it pretty methodically as well. I say methodically, he's looking top of 3 right now. Kyler McCarthy inside, David Smeal Jr. meat of the sandwich. Brett Strickler is up top. He's going to continue to work that speed, work that momentum. That right rear's got to be hanging on, though, as we continue to work our way 40 laps into this stint, this time by Brett Strickler showing the longer run speed, longer run pace, at least with this battles between 10th, 11th, and 12th. Here comes Andrew Bay to start to join that battle. Almost smacks the wall coming out of fourth. Strickler, man, on a mission up to P10. God, is he going to do a P9? Look at the number 38, Jeremy Zarfos photography machine go. He's actually going to start to look up there, draw a bead on his teammate, the Turn2Terribles.com driver of Kevin Click. Kevin Click also with a nice start to this race. He's methodically continuing to run about 7th, 8th, right now continuing to run 9, while trying to hold off the hard-charging Brett Strickler. Red's rocking, rolling, 41 laps down. Should be about 20 more laps to go until our first fuel stops. Come on, buddy, get there, draw me, get to that inside line, make a side draft happen. And you're probably saying, what are you talking about? Well, I am all seriousness right now because, ladies and gentlemen, if you're newer out here, the iRacing Simulation Motorsports, iRacing, it is not just a video game, it is a simulator. iRacing, it does simulate just about every single thing you can imagine. I'm talking aerodynamics, I'm talking downforce, side force, you name it. I'm also talking open setups. These full throttle performance sim racing drivers are able to run with their own setups that they would like, and we have seen that. We've seen that make or break quite a few long and versus short run speed battles. Now, I promised myself I wouldn't open this can of worms on the broadcast, but open setups also, it's exactly what it sounds like. You have the ability to, oh my God, Matthew Fitz sent it out there, turn 1. Kyler McCarthy up top. You have the ability to, I'm talking change tire pressures, springs, shocks, dampeners, ride height adjustments. There is so much that you can go in and get all finicky with here within these sim racing setups, and that's why you continue to hear quite a few of these drivers who really thank quite a few of their setup providers have made their way to the top 3 driver interviews booths, because it's really, yeah, there's a lot that you can do back and behind the wheel. That's ultimately how your race finishes, if you will, but the setups are ultimately how the car drives, and And it's not just one, get one and you're done. You can't just load up a fast one. I think it's so ultimately based on your preference within the car. And I actually had a driver reach out to me, I believe it was after last week, and was like, oh no! He wasn't like, oh no, but we're gonna have contact between David Smeal Jr. David Smeal Jr. with the cat-like reflexes. Have you ever? I have never. Smeal Jr., he loses. I mean, he's going to keep losing spots, drops back down and into P20. My goodness gracious. All right, well, we'll get back to that conversation in just a second. Oh, heavy contact with Matthew Fitz. What happens with Fitz? That's what happened with Fitz. Hopefully he's not. Oh, man. He hit that very sharp angle out there on the pit wall. Unfortunately, okay, he doesn't have to tow it, but this is already a penalty that he would have to be serving in that test pilot number 69 machine. Heavy contact with the front left panels. Thankfully, his box is right there, but with no fast repairs, this Full Throttle Performance Sim Racing League, unfortunately for Matthew Fitz, looks like his night is over. Take another look at it here. Just, it gets tight at a turn 4. Remember, I mean, we had kept an eye on that battle within Kyler McCarthy. Look at how slideways David Smeal Jr. is. He's able to somehow keep that off of contact with other drivers. Here we're gonna have to let's take a look at this one at actual race pace, because I mean that's what tells the story. Take another look at it here. So here comes Matthew Fitz with a run and a half into turn 3. Kyler McCarthy on the outside line. And remember, I had just said, boy, Matthew had sent it in there. That was turn 1. Here he comes around the inside, contact with the 27. A bank, and we're even probably gonna skip the bank. It's just gonna be a big old boom. Oh my gracious. It looked like it just would have ripped the front nose of that number 69 off. Okay, so back out to the conversation that I was getting to. I had a driver reach out to me last week and kind of reached out saying, how are these drivers just so fast? And we got to talking about the open setups that are available, as well as I got to thinking, got my thinking cap on. And it's exactly as I started to reference. I think that you have to have that the fine line between, I mean, obviously not a setup that's running over the line of completely undrivable, but as well as you have to feel good in the car, and that's how you have to be fast, as well as there's a lot that goes into it. It's speed, it's long run speed versus short run speed. It's these three-way battles side by side, but it's also kind of how you take care of these tires within a run, right? There's so much that goes into finding speed, finding momentum, as well as consistent race finishes. Now that we are pretty much in these I think the real bread and butter of the season right now, as we'll get into. We're in this 1.5 miles from Las Vegas this week, it's Darlington next week, and then especially, what did we hear in the real life broadcast? Is that within the next 5 to 6 weeks, it's actually chase format tracks. So these, talk about crystal ball effect, talk about drivers that we could continue to see work their way up into those chase format points. It's drivers that are having a nice night tonight. So far, Susie, Ken Baum Jr., Dylan Clark, Joshua Gaiman. That's the top 3, as Joshua Gaiman is actually now in pit lane. He is one of our first drivers, if not the first driver, to pit under this race strategy. Keep that in mind as he came into the pits third on the timing and scoring. So he'll cycle out here he'll cycle out to about 20th, if not 25th, 26th position, but he will have some fresh Goodyear rubber underneath of him, make some fast laps happen. As we also see David Smeal Jr. Oh, he's going to slide way through his box. We not only saw this once, twice, thrice, thrice, if not thrice last night. This Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's known for such a slippery pit road, and drivers that have the broadcast open right now are actually listening in. Take this as my word of caution, and I am not just trying to make you lose some time. Matter of fact, I'm trying to help you, as we have a caution on the racetrack. Who is it here? We're still trying to look for it. It shows Troy Wagaman Jr. is involved. No. This is right during caution stops. Oh, man, he has smacked the outside wall. Hopefully not another driver. He tried to dive it down into pit lane. That was right as Joshua Gaiman and the number 20 as well. That was Troy Wagman. So Joshua Gaiman, Stan Mayberry were all down in pit lane. So was David Spiel Jr. We're gonna have to see what that means for those drivers after. My God, look at the battles out there behind Troy Wagman. I don't blame him for trying to. Or excuse me, that was trying the outside. 3 wide across the stripe, and he got banked and boom, sent hard on the outside safety barrier, and then just parks it out here as his night is also done. So where does the 3 wide start to ensue? Well, here's a little bit more bigger picture here. 20 smacks the wall out there on the back straightaway, and then here we go through 3 and 4. I think it might be, is it? Yeah, okay, so Hobart gets up into the wall as well. That's what ultimately sent him top of 3, and then I don't think even Brett Strickler, he definitely knew the outside somebody was there, but maybe not 3 wide. As Brett Strickler started to come back onto the racetrack, I mean, just started to run out of room pretty quick there. Here's another look at it. Okay, apologies. Here's another look at it. Okay. One more time here, and then we'll slow it down. Here we go through the dogleg across the stripe. And I mean, it's maybe Hobart trying to side draft the 38 of Strickler and then kind of pinballs off of him there. It's call it what you will. I think 2 drivers just ultimately, I think, going for the same spot. The 13 does a nice job as well of Willie Hobart to kind of keep it off, keep it rolling back through the corner as well, not making that incident any worse than what it could have been. So as we now join this battles off of pit lane, is everybody in? Everybody should be in, and it's actually led by Ken Baum Jr. off of the pits. Joshua Susi, I think he'll cycle back and out to P2. We'll have to see if timing and scoring continues to show that way after we'll make our way across the stripe this time by, and everything should be updated there. Dylan Clark, I'm showing, should restart in the 3rd position. Stefan Oberstadt, P4. Anthony Bay, top 5. Kevin Click, Brett Strickler, Willie Hobart, Andrew May, Dean Clavitt rounding at the top 10. So let's see if they're going to re-rack them just as timing does show, and they are. So it will be Ken Baum Jr. P1, Joshua Susi P2. What timing on that caution? My God, yeah, well, excuse me. Okay, now Joshua Gaiman has shown P24. So what timing on the caution for both Yins and Yangs, both front of the pack and now back of the pack for 2 of our points leaders coming into race 5 of the season. Dylan Clark, nice start for the race 4. The number 34, 14 spots gained. He'll start P number 3, Stefan Oberstadt. After a nice finish last week in the Phoenix Desert, he comes out to the Gambling Desert in Las Vegas. Stefan Oberstadt, that was a nice timed caution for the number 3 after everybody pits on lap 54. It's 4 tires down and a rat tan all the way up until Stan Mayberry, P24. Stan Mayberry is going to take, I think he's going to stay out and get that lap back. So Stan Mayberry not able to fill his fuel tank up with Sunoco Race Fuel and get it some new Goodyear Racing Eagles on that number 48. We'll have to see what that strategy continues to work with there. Backing onto the green flag call, it's the number 2 of Ken Baum Jr. leads the Full Throttle Performance Next Gen Sim Racing Series into turn number 1 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dylan Clark, Joshua Susi side by side. Now they'll start to single file that battle out there. Side by side between Anthony May, Oberstadt, Brett Strickler. Kevin Click starts to join that battle as well. Here comes Willie Hobart. He might look down the inside. No, he's still got Brett Strickler and Kevin Click going back at it in that battle right up and in front of him. Ken Baum Jr. with the clean air, looking to control the pack now, this time leading into 1. And look at Dylan Clark, man on a mission. Now rolling that outside line. Joshua Susi's going to trying to wrap that apron as well as he can. Here comes the 45, though. Anthony Bay with another run and a half on the back straightaway. Talk about run and a half. Look at the run that the 34 had. Dylan Clark looks to the inside for the race lead. It's 3 and 4. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, side by side. Here comes Anthony Bay as well. No contact, but trying to side draft between the two. Dylan Clark, Ken Baum Jr. now on board with Anthony Bay for P3. Wow, Ken Baum Jr. he gets way tight in the corner. Contact with that carbon fiber diffuser and the racetrack. He's going to bump his way throughout turns 1 and 2. He's also going to bump that back bumper of Dylan Clark. Dylan Clark, door quarter clear for the race lead, Gambling Country. What a run for that number 34. Shot out of a cannon on that race restart. Ken Baum Jr. has nothing for him. These drivers, oh, he's going to try to slice it, dice it. Look back into the inside line in turns 1 and 2. Ken Baum Jr. actually a little bit later to that throttle pedals. Anthony Bay now looks around the outside line. Joshua Susi stalking, creeping. Joshua Susi back up to P4. Here comes Anthony Bay around the outside, climbs the hill in 3 and 4. Door quarter now clear. 45 back up to P2. What a restart to this race. As you can see, 15 laps to go up in the top left corner until our first stage ring. Now there's no caution thrown, but these points are ever so important. You will continue to see these drivers duke and try and battle it out. Who do we have going around the inside there? That'll be Dean Clavitt. That's a save and a half for the number 56. My goodness, Dean, hang on to it, and that's exactly what he did. Contact with Willie Hobart. Oh, man, once, twice. We're going to have to hop on board with Dean Hands and look at Hands go to work for thrice out there. Man, oh, man, that could have been big, could have been huge for Dean. So here's the side-by-side going into the corner. It looks like Willie Hobart just tries to get into that hole that, man, it was there for just a little bit. Look at the hands. Oh, my goodness. Dean has also kept his foot in it, rocking, rolling. Dean lives to fight another lap, 2 or 3. My gracious, but his tires are going to be pissed. Dylan Clark still to the race lead. Anthony Bay to P2. Ken Baum Jr. will drop back down to P3. Susi P4. Oberstadt, nice race restart as well. And now the next side-by-side battles is Andrew May and Jimmy Barr. Starting to load, Andrew May and Kyler McCarthy. A little bit of side-by-side on their side. A little bit of side drafts on their side. A little bit of 24 door quarter clear on the left side. Just barely for Kyler. Hopping on board with the driver eye and driver foot cam. McCarthy is, man, I have been there before there, Kyler, continuing to, I mean, he's continuing to have a nice night here with him tonight, but continuing to also keep his foot down. He has had the gains, had it up to here with them. He is looking for a top 10 finish, trying to work his way up and back into these point standings as he just was last season. Nitro Racing, number 24. Lime green, little bit of black action there on it. Kyler McCarthy, nice start to the race. Look at those feet go to work as well. We got one stopped on the racetrack. That's going to be Stan Mayberry Hill. No, that'll be Ryan Mueller. Ryan Mueller down and into the pits, and his number 33, what was that? A Justin Allgaier inspired paint scheme as we are under yellow flag. Okay. Oh, man, so it looks like it could have been the 33 involved there as well. We saw that looked to be here comes Ryan Mueller through the corner. I think this is the first time that we've really, oh, man, holy overcorrection and a half. I don't fault him for it as that thing started to shoot to the inside, and then he just had, oh, man. I've been there before as well. As take a look at this one going into the corner. Running by himself right now and just trying to put some laps down to get back up and into the pack. And then already that right rear starts to go around on him. He puts a tiny bit of wheel in it. And then here's just a boom. Oh, my gracious. Tires off of the racetrack. Let's hop on board here with Ryan and see what he saw. Ooh. Ryan Mueller, he was having himself an okay night thus far, and he can, man, I don't think he had necessarily, I didn't see any damage on the front nose of the 33, but yeah, I mean, Missed the wreck so far, just continuing to have that nice, consistent run. And that number 33, Justin Allgaier, Daytona 500 entry there, and paint scheme, Traveler Whiskey. And man, unfortunately there for him, just hard, heavy contact to that outside safer barrier. So that was interesting time for Stan Mayberry in the number 48, because Stan had just gotten down and into his pits. Stan Mayberry, he could, if he chooses to stay out right now. No, Stan's backing into the pits. God, I hate that for him, because I believe, if my math is mathing, if he would have stayed out right there, he could have essentially leapfrogged the field after pitting at what was, that's exactly why Stan can't leapfrog the field, is because he has that heavy left front damage there in that one main financial Chevrolet Camaro. So this breaks up the field as far as strategy calls go. We got the 66 of Caitlin Haight. The first time that we've mentioned the number 11's name. She continues to run in 20th position after starting kind of near the bottom of the pack this race, continuing to work her way through it. One of 5 different Toyota Camrys on the track. Caitlin Haight, she'll restart P20 on some new Goodyear Racing tire, no Goodyear Racing tires for Caitlin Haight or Dean Clabbett or Ryan Smith or George Wood, drivers that have just pit last lap by. Looks like they just put some more Sunoco fuel in it. No tires up there on them. If you're just now joining us or just now joining in, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate each and every single one of you. It's lap 68 down out of 150, but we are getting closer and closer to lap number 75, our stage break lap night. No caution thrown, but we will have points dished out there to the drivers within their respectful running positions. We've had 3 cautions for 9, should be 10 laps this time by, and 2 lead changes, as now Dylan Clark, that should make it 3 if I'm not mistaken. Dylan Clark now into the race lead, as we also had Joshua Susi leading quite a few laps earlier on. Okay. This is going to get good here within these next about 5 to 6, if not maybe 7 laps, because as I just mentioned, stage points are so important for these drivers within this points format that we are running. Real quick, here's a look at the point standings here into the night. Joshua Susi, Joshua Gavin, Matthew Fitz, 1, 2, 3. Ken Baum Jr., Tyler Massey, 4, 5. Tyler Rush, Ryan Smith, Dylan Clark, Daniel Higgins, and Brett Strickler rounding out the top 10. Keep an eye on those point battles as Barney the Flagman keeps an eye on this field, got the green flag in his hand. We're going to get ready to rock. We're going to get ready to roll. Let's get ready to gamble again out here in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 8 coming to 7 laps to go, this time by Dylan Clark. Anthony Bay lead him going into 1. Nice start for the race of Dylan. Going into turn number 3, but Ken Baum Jr. looks to be there. Here comes Anthony Bay. Joshua Susi looks down the inside as well. Side by side from that battle on back, the Stefan Oberstadt. He's got company on the outside line. Kevin Click almost makes contact with the outside wall, if not maybe traded some final wrap for it. Brett Strickler, the man on a mission, driver 38, continue to rock and roll his way towards the front, comes into the race 10th within the point standings. He's looking for some more points with only 6 laps to go until our stage break. Dylan Clark clear to the race lead as we start to see tire marbles and rubber and debris fly over the track. This track is starting to take to this grip relatively well, at least after the caution flag flies. This rubber line continues to get built right back in this very abrasive old asphalt Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 5 laps to go, this time by Snaz, just as we have continued to see race restart after race restart. The top 10 continue to single file themselves out now, and this is hurricane sectors for about 2 and 3 wide on back from 10th on back. Look who it is. It's Andrew May, Joshua Gaiman. Joshua Gaiman, a little bit of front damage on that front nose of his Chevrolet Camaro, continuing to work Clark and not fixing that damage within that last within the last caution flag. David Steele Jr. up to P12, Jimmy Barr, Jeremy Zarfos, he's up within that battle, so is Daniel Higgins. A slight block going to 3, where's that Daniel looking for the inside line. Daniel gets blocked from the driver of the 29, Jeremy Zarfos. Caitlin Haight rocking and rolling, she slide her way up the hill this time out of 4. Tyler Shell's still in there, so is Michael Sheridan, Dakota Kuhn, Dean Clavitt, George Wood, and Nathan Burnett. That's up until one lap drivers down, starting with Chris Lynn and Stan Mayberry. Looks like Chris Lynn has a little bit of a move down there, going into the inside of the driver of the 56. Is he able to make it happen? He's going to slide up the racetrack and almost make he'll keep it off of Ryan Smith's left quarter panel there. This time it's 2 laps to go for Dylan Clark and Ken Baum Jr. But remember, there will be no caution flag thrown. It is just points dished out. It's Ken Baum Jr. Does he have the short run speed to be able to get that turn to Terrible's Jeremy Zarfos Photography Toyota Carry back up and into this rear bumper of Dylan Clark for those ever so important point standings? And points dished out here within this next one more lap, or will Ken Baum Jr. continue to play a little bit more long run strategy, try to make this this long run pace out here and try to join us in virtual victory lane? Whoa, Ken Baum Jr. is getting wobbly, wiggly, whoa, he's still wobbling his way out through turn 2. Remember when I talked about setups earlier on in the race, and if your setup can take to your driving style? Well, Ken Baum Jr., he is, hanging on for dear life in a setup that seems to be fast, but seems to be a little bit shaky as well. This time, stage is complete, and our stage winner will be the 34 of Dylan Clark, max stage points earned out of West Richland. Ken Baum Jr. in the number 2. He'll finish P2 as we continue to run under green flag conditions. Joshua Susie, nice stage points there earned as well out of Presby Isle. I'm probably butchering the name there. Joshua Susie, we have talked with him once, twice, thrice out there in virtual top 3 victory lane. And man, Joshua, he just rocketed around that outside line. You saw a little bit of puff of smoke out there on the outside, and no, Joshua Susie's not trying to get to his cigar a little bit early. I think out there he actually tagged the wall outside of turn number 4, and that I really do think helped that speed momentum. It almost looked like it kind of slingshotted him by Ken Baum Jr. I think we have a race replay stocked and ready to go there for it. So here we go. Watch Joshua Susie. He's on the outside line, and we're going to keep this slow-mo until at least the next time by. We're going to keep it fast-mo. Here comes Susie. Watch this tagger on the outside wall. Just a tiny bit of sparks flying, and that is just enough of a tiny bit of a gap out there to clear him up and down and around Ken Baum Jr.'s front nose. Dylan Clark comes into this race 8th in the point standings. It's been an immaculate run from Las Vegas Motor Speedway so far. Dylan Clark leads the last 20 laps. We're going to see if he's got the long run speed, though, as remember, we probably still have. Well, we're probably working about 40 more laps to go until our next fuel stop. So that is a long way for a pair of Goodyear Racing Eagles to run just on one set, as well as, remember, we saw some drivers that had last pits on, let's see if we'll show it on the strategy call. Okay, all of our top 8 drivers pitting on lap 54, but remember, our last caution came out on lap 64, and we had some drivers pit on lap 66. For example, take in Caitlin Haight, driver of the number 11. She's already backing up and into number 12 position. Didn't take tires, but right now she's got more fuel in the tank. She'll be able to go a longer way as we have a spin. It's Anthony Bay on the back straightaway. Well, there goes all the strategy calls I was talking about. Call this a second Charlene Tater curse, if you will. Driver of the 45 is at, down, and around turn 2 Terrible Smith Motorsports. Jeremy Zarfos Photography of the number 45. What happened there for him? Also having himself a nice night thus far. Let's take a look at the Stam Studio Network race replay. So it happened on the backstretch, so I actually like taking a whole look at about a half a lap in front of it here, as we can really start to see what boiled up and cooked up and into this position. Here you start to see that number 45 up on the outside line. Then you have the 25 on the inside. I think that's Chris Lynn. Oh, no! Contact with the right front quarter at the left rear. Excuse me, right front to the left rear of Anthony Bay's machine. There you see, that's what sent him around. Take another look at it here. And this time we will keep it slower, Mo. There you see, I think that is Kevin Click, number 25. Give me at least one more race or two to get these numbers right back to where they are on these cars. Kevin Click, unfortunately, did he slide up there, or was Anthony Bay coming down? We'll have to take another look at it here. Remember, you also have 61. Excuse me, of Gaiman also starting to join that battle as well. So there's the kind of the overhead shot, and here's one more look as we'll have to take a look at our pit stops. Yeah, I mean the 45 definitely had some space out there between him and that outside wall, but all right. I just like to keep my job. That's all. I'm gonna cue that up as two drivers going back within the same position there. Whoa, Susie spinning his tires off of the pits, not able to quite beat Dylan Clark off the pits. Pause. Ryan Smith up there to P12. Stefan Oberstadt, Joshua Gaiman, Kyler McCarthy, Brett Strickler, Kevin Click, David Smeal Jr., Daniel Higgins, Dan Clavitt, Chris Lynn, and George Wood, rounding out the drivers who did just pit there. So I'm going to have to take back what I said. I know, shocker, right? Ken Baum Jr., I did mention those drivers who did pit on lap 54 on our last time by. Excuse me, we had drivers who pit on lap 54, and then we had another caution. Quite a few of those drivers actually staying out. And that's exactly the case this time by again. It's Ken Baum Jr. He's going to stay out on the racetrack. So is Willie Hobart. Caitlin Haight, after pitting on lap 66, this is exactly what the number 11 needed. She's going to kind of slingshot her way up and through the pack after she's going to surpass, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers. More than that, 10, 11 drivers pitting this lap by. So now Caitlin Haight is on the short end of the stick, as is Ken Baum Jr., Willie Hobart. More so Ken Baum Jr., Willie Hobart, Andrew May, Jimmy Barr, basically everybody around Caitlin Tate up and in the top 8 positions. And then it's not up until, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. It's not up until, because I know this race strategy is getting pretty wild. It's not until Dylan Clark up in there in the 10th running position who just pit this stop by. So quick recap, Caitlin Haight, pit 1 caution ago, has a little bit more fuel and tire life on her machine than the top 8 drivers, and then Dylan Clark from him on back. So basically about 8th, 9th position on back. Those drivers are on the newest set of tires and newest set of race strategy and more fuel in the tank, so they get to go longer as well. All right, we're side by side through the pack, but we still have that iRacing safety car out here on the racetrack, and that gives me just a brief moment to thank you all so much out here on the Stam Studio Network, coming out here and watching a racing broadcast. I know that there's quite a bit more things that you can be watching out here on a Wednesday night, and so I'd just like to thank you all so much with all due there, as well as those of you down there in YouTube land checking in on the YouTube chat. Still got Terry, Ted, Ricardo, Keno joining out there as well. As well as these drivers and sponsors and affiliates up there up in the top right of the screen, allowing me to come and bring you coverage out here race after race after race. And as I mentioned, the drivers out here allowing me to bring you coverage of some pretty damn good racing race after race after race. Could not be doing it without Ken Baum Jr., Willie Hobart, Caitlin Haight, Andrew May, Jimmy Barr, Tyler Schell, Dakota Kuhn, Michael Sheridan, Nathan Burnett, Dakota Kuhn, Dylan Clark, Ryan Smith, Joshua Susie, hang on, stick with me, Ryan Smith, Joshua Gaiman, Stefan Oberstadt, Kyler McCarthy, as well as Carrie, Brett Strickler, Carrie, if you know, Unicorn Queen out there in YouTube land. Kevin Click, Brett Strickler, David Smeal Jr., Daniel Higgins, Dean Clavitt, Jeremy Zarfos, Anthony Bay, Chris Lynn, George Wood, Kevin Gibney Jr., my goodness, I'm sorry, didn't think it was this many, Stan Mayberry, Ryan Mueller, Chad Griggs, Troy Wagaman Jr., Matthew Fitz, Austin Griffey, Gary Wright, and Eric L. Schneck. Each and every single one of these drivers continuing to allow me to bring you coverage of my favorite series broadcast. It's the Full Throttle Performance Next Gen Sim Racing Series. Let's get back to green flag racing. Stage 2, final stage of the race. Ken Baum Jr. leads him again going into turn 1, but keep an eye on that newer fuel. Not necessarily newer tires up there for Keaton Nate up back in Q2. Willie Hobart joining that battle for the top third running position, back into the inside line for that, outside line of that neon yellow number 13 Toyota Camry. Willie Hobart clear in front of Jimmy Barr. How about Jimmy Barr's race tonight, driving the number 12 Turn 2 Terribles machine. Not only, I would call it possible paint scheme of the race. Man, oh man, that'll catch all your eye. But Jimmy Barr is also last bit on that 54, so is on that kind of short end of the stick strategy, depending on when this next caution flies. 65 laps to go. Jimmy Barr up and into P4, holding off Tyler Shell, Andrew May, and Dakota Kuhn up there, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Look at Jimmy Barr go. He's going to continue to work his way across the stripe, get within that slipstream, get within that draft. Let's hang on board Jimmy Barr into turn 1. Well, I say turn 1, let's continue to hang on with him turn 3 here. If you can compare and contrast the complete differences of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Look at this wash up at the racetrack. Wow, I thought he was going to make contact with the outside wall. Jimmy Barr almost did as Ken Baum Jr. continues to lead out up front. Caitlin Haight slingshots her way on strategy up to P2, Hobart to P3, and now we're starting to get to the good stuff out there between Kyler McCarthy, Kevin Click, Daniel Higgins, Stefan Oberstadt. Here we go. Battles between side by side, 9 and the 24. Here comes Daniel Higgins rocking that outside line, keeping that more momentum rolling. More momentum, long way around the racetrack, but he'll have that speed gain out there out of turn number 4. Remember, there's Dylan Clark as well. He's still trying to make his way through this pack after we kind of just flipped strategies on their heads. Joshua Susi, Tyler Shell. Looks like Joshua Susi is able to make his way around to number 3 as Kevin Click, Stefan Oberstadt, Daniel Higgins. Here comes that battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. Looking outside and out of that rear view camera, if you will, of Joshua Susi. Joshua drawing a bead on Dakota Kuhn's number 95 Dark Horse Ford Mustang. Another Jeremy Zarfos photography machine with a nice race going so far. 95, 26 spots gained up there in P6. Rocking, rolling, trying not to pay too much attention on that outside line in his rear view camera shot there. It's man, oh man, they are starting to really go at it. 2 by 2 still between Daniel Higgins and Dean Clavitt. Looks like Kyle McCarthy will get back in there into P14 within that battle. This is the closest side-by-side up there within the front of the pack, except for Dakota Kuhn and the number 81 of Joshua Susi also going at it there. So this has a very interesting call as far as race strategy goes, because if you remember, we were able to get to about 60 laps on a fuel tank, but quite a few of these drivers up there within our top 7 running positions not pitting last that by. Well, it's not up until Kevin Click in the number 25, as well as Joshua Susi in the number 81. So drivers running 6th and 7th who have, I think, the best kind of fuel strategy right now. If you were able to make a live wager up there on some sort of website, man, oh man, that would be I'm going to have to try to get that going, because live wagers would be open, and I think I'd put a little something on there on these front 4 to 5 running drivers who last pit on that number 81. Led by Susi is that strategy. Kevin Click P2 on that strategy. Oberstadt as well as Dylan Clark also have Joshua Gaiman. is now fighting out there with Daniel Higgins and Brett Strickler. All of those drivers should have a little bit more life within their Goodyear racing wheels, as well as fuel within their Sunoco race tanks. 57 laps to go. There's definitely one more stop within the race. Will there be? This is what opens up this fun racing strategy calls, because as I continue to dive deeper into the strategies, as before mentioned a couple, quite a few laps ago, it's going to determine on, now it opens up the door on race tire strategy. Down as we make our way closer and closer towards the money stop. Will some of these drivers opt for a 2-tire pit stop faster, but you're not max grip and max handling capabilities, where they work for a 4-tire pit stop? As abrasive as this asphalt is, and as old as this asphalt is, I would really imagine that you're going to try to beg for 4 tires, but you have to make sure that there's enough laps left to go in the race, that you have enough time to work your way and kind of cut that delta back that you have lost on the old tire strategy call. On board Joshua Susi works his way up into the P3, into the race within the points leading standings. Leading the point standings. Joshua Susi, we've seen the seed. We have seen the speed, seen the momentum, and seen these consistent runs for the Nitro Racing number 81 going at it up there with Caitlin Hates and the number 11, and then Ken Baum Jr. leading the race, and our the number 2, after I think possibly leading the most amount of laps, the second most of laps led tonight, this time 19 by across the stripe. Well, there goes Susi, and talk about some newer tires. That is what new tires are made of right there, and we'll take another look at this race replay, because going into turn 1, here comes Susi around the inside. Caitlin has no opportunity, nothing to do out there except for just to gotta get a point by there to the 81 and try to not lose as much speed and momentum as she possibly can. She knew that was something that was on its way and headed her way, and then just tried to ultimately lose the least amount of time possible as she was getting passed out there. Whoa, hang on to it. Kevin Click's gonna go around onto turn 2. Kevin Click on a route in front of the rest of the field, and my goodness gracious, did you see, was that Nathan Burnett, Jeremy Zarfos, Tyler Schell, 3, 4, 5 drivers, including Stan Mayberry, who had just made some evasive actions out there. Very nice job to miss a spinning driver, number 25, Kevin Click. Here's what happened to him. No contact. That was self-induced, already started to get loose out of turn number 2, and I say that's a self-induced, but I'm actually, hang on, once we see the rest of this wreck. Look at, oh my goodness gracious, Daniel Higgins, cat-like reflexes. Or was that another Chase Elliott paint scheme? Okay, anyways. Here we go again out there between the contact between the two, and then, and as I started to kind of allude to there, I'm not going to put that at all on Stefan Oberstadt, because there was no contact between him and the number 25 of Kevin Click. But I will say, within these recent seasons of the iRacing Simulation Motorsports, it gets tougher and tougher to drive back and behind, especially within that dirty wake is. That dirty wake is the closer and closer that you find yourself up and into it there. And I think that all the clean air was just, I think, ultimately taken away out there of that Kevin Click machine, and just down and around it'll spin him, and thankfully so out there for that number 25. We did see him, I mean, he kind of tagged the outside wall just briefly. Trying to find him here. Where's the 25 at? There he is. Let's hop on board with the driver iCam here at race pace. So there's a lot that's going on right now, and I know some of you might be thinking that this is just a spin. What are you talking about? Well, there's a lot that goes on in the terms of Kevin Click. He's going to keep his probably the throttle pedal down right now, as well as hands that continue to go to work. Now he's going to slam the brakes, as trying to just minimize that contact with that outside safer barrier. I think he did a pretty dang good job of that. We'll take one more look at it out of the outside view. There you see the tires stop for just a split second there. Tiny bit of nose to the outside wall, not too much damage. Kevin Click did an excellent job right there at minimizing the damage on that number 25. Actually, as I take a look at that front nose, man, that should only be maybe 20 seconds down on pit lane to get that all back up and in repaired. Very, very nice job for Kevin. This is our 5th caution for 16 laps of the Full Throttle Performance Sim Racing Series. We're on lap 101 out of 50, so should be coming down here to the nitty-gritty with only 49 laps to go. We'll get side by side this time by, and if you haven't had here just too much enough of me just yet, make sure you join me. I'll be live at 10:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. I know it's a late one, but we've got some, as Arizona does not suffice to the time changes there. I think that's the right way to use that. I have a league out of Arizona. I'll be live with, not right after this race, but now 10:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. That will be Mazda MX-5 cars going at it live at Watkins Glen. And as is that series, it's quite a few, if not all, real-life racing drivers out there going at it, duking it out there. If you, once again, haven't caught here just quite enough of me, make sure you join us out there and in for Apex MX-5 Sim Racing Series, 10:45 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. We're going to do something special on this race restart tonight in the Full Throttle Performance Sim Racing Series. As we are on lap 102, coming to complete the remainder of this race, let's do something a little bit special. I encourage you all to crank this puppy up. Enjoy the sights and sounds of a race restart, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You're watching live on STAM Studio Network. Stefan Overstadt to the lead. Brett Strickler, Anthony May, Dean Clapton, top 2, top 4. Stefan Overstadt across the line, working with all sorts of clean air on that number 3 Chevrolet Camaro, but he has company out up top. It's Anthony Bay. These drivers on the same pit stop strategy, but Joshua Susi is a man on the mission with a newer pit stop strategy. 20-lap newer tires in that number 81 Chevrolet Camaro Nitro Racing Machine. Joshua Susi, here he comes on the inside line of Anthony Bay. Oh, contact with Brett Strickler in the outside wall. Brett's able to keep it moving and grooving. Here comes Joshua Susi back up to P2. That's exactly where he started this race. He's going to start to stalk, creep, start to work that inside line of our race leader, Stefan Overstadt. Or so I thought. It doesn't look like Joshua Susi is close enough to make that line happen going into turn 3 this time by. We're going to continue to beat. We're going to continue to bang. Here's Caitlin Hates. Battles out there with Daniel Higgins, Willie Hobart, Joshua Gaiman, all within that battle. Here comes a little bit of 3 wide across the stripe. Remember Ken Bob Jr. He was out there leading lap after lap after lap. So was Dean Clavitt. They are now working about 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th positions on track. Hang on to it. That's Ken Bob Jr. who goes way up the track, and now somebody goes around. Who is it? It's a big one. It's the number 12. It's the number, the 25 involved as well. It's the 61, 85. My goodness gracious, it's a huge wreck on the backstretch. Kevin Click involved. Joshua Gaiman, no. Gaiman comes into the race second in the point standings. He started to drift that thing, a little bit of front damage on the number 61. We also saw Stan Mayberry involved. I don't see too much damage on his one main financial Chevrolet Camaro. Willie Hobart, he is slow on the bottom of the track. I don't necessarily see too much cosmetic damage on that Jeremy Zarfos number 13 machine either. Out of OK bumpers. Plows down? Okay, we're gonna have to take a look and see what this happened on this this caution. Golly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm showing 9 different drivers involved. Where does it all start? So there's the 3 wide up and in front of this battle. We were on board with that live, so it's got to happen up there at least. Oh, it is the 61 of Joshua Gaiman. Tried to wrap that inside line up in Daniel Higgins' hands. Nowhere for Higgins to go. Nowhere for ultimately quite a few of the rest of the pack to go. Oh man, we're still wrecking on the backstretch. Take a closer look here at the 61, and this is exactly the kind of, excuse me, that's not necessarily the exact cause, but it's a very similar cause to that last caution that we just saw thrown, except this time, I think, look at how close that 61 was running to the apron of the track. I think maybe contact with that front splitter and then start to send the rear end down and around. Joshua Gaiman keeps his foot planted on the throttle pedal. Very nice job to do that there. Then starts to, you see the tires start to come to a little bit of a stop there, and at this point, it's just too late out there for Joshua to do anything. He's along for the ride. So is Daniel Higgins. There goes the number 12, bottom of your screen, Jimmy Barr. Let's hop on board here with Jimmy and see what he saw. Yeah, he dove it down the inside in a quick and in a hurry and ended up spinning it out. But I'll take a spin out over a wreck any day of the week. Oh, I think I should have stayed on board there with Jimmy, as that wreck wasn't there just yet. But here's the camera shot I was looking for well, okay, but this time we're going to Joshua Gaiman. Yeah, the wrecks just keep on going there, and then there you see Jimmy Barr, cat-like reflexes, meow, for the driver of the 12 machine. He had made his way through the wreck, and then there was another one spinning up in front of him. All right, we'll get back out here to green flag racing. We got that iRacing safety pace car lights out this time by and out of turn number 2. What a fun race it's been. Not necessarily lights on the racetrack as we continue to work our way closer and closer to sunset. Finals, we are done with stage 1. We are in our final stage out of this 150-lap race. 108 coming to 109 laps down. So should be working with about 40 to 41 laps left within this Las Vegas Motor Speedway Full Throttle Performance Sim Racing League race. Stefan Oberstadt, Joshua Soucy, Anthony Bay, David Smeal Jr., 1, 2, 3, 4, Ken Baum Jr., Dean Clavitt, Dylan Clark, Caitlin Haight, Andrew Main, Kyler McCarthy, top 10. And let's all do it again. Stefan Oberstadt, start is on you, big man. Here we go, backing into turn number 1. Green flag is out, 43 laps to go this time by. The gambling all as it's been on the table, and this is when it all comes into tuition out here. Dean Clavitt, Ken Baum Jr., 5th and 6th. Keep an eye on that battle as holy Ken Baum Jr. still gets loose going through 1. He continued to make his way through it, fight for another right to party as we continue to look side by side for the 2nd and 3rd. Anthony Bay goes way up the racetrack. Joshua Soucy down, running the inside line. He is now clearing up and into P number 2. Stefan Oberstadt still to the race lead. He'll lead him to the stripe. This time 41 laps to go. We started to look 2. We started to look 3 wide. We'll settle it back down to 2. But here comes Ken Baum Jr. all over the inside line. Dean Clavitt, nice race for him. The number 56 snap on Chevrolet Camaro. Working that outside line over Caitlin Haight. Here comes Dylan Clark also joining that top 8 driver battle as well. We'll look 3 wide on a turn 4. They'll bang, they'll trade vinyl wrap. It's Dean Clavitt, it as well as Anthony Bay, who continues to fall. like a rock. Anthony Bay drops back into P8, continue to look for speed, look for some grip on that short run strategy. Oberstadt's clear to the race lead. It's Susie, it's Ken Baum Jr. P2, P3 starting to duke and even drive it out there. Look who's worked his way up into top 4 position. Whoa, Joshua Susie, he gets tight out of the corner. He ends up spinning it across the nose of Caitlin Page. Joshua Susie goes for a spin to the infield. Caution flag is out, 7th of the race. This changes everything, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, no, no. Susie down and around, leading laps up there in the top 3, spins from P2. Here's a look, see what happened to Susie out there coming out of the exit. Oh, contact with Ken Baum Jr. There you see some net code actually out there for the number 2. I'll dive into that here in just a brief moment as we continue to kind of break this down out here between Susie and Baum. So here's 1 and 2, and look at him start to dive down the inside line of that back straightaway. All he's trying to do is break that draft for Ken Baum Jr., not give him a run. Here comes Ken Baum Jr. He makes his way back into the inside line. Oh, and I almost think, because as the way I called that out live racing action, I almost start to think that Susie started to get loose, as we have seen time and time again, right before the contact. Here's going to be coming out of 4 this time by. Yeah, there you can see it just right there. His hands started to catch that thing. He caught it the first time, but after, spinning up there up and in front of a whole heap of cars going 195 miles an hour. Unfortunately, there's nothing for Ken Baum Jr. to do or go. And as well as, take a look at Ken Baum Jr.'s front nose as this incident happens as well. And I think it would be a little bit better if he slowed it down afterwards here. So there's the contact. Okay, it's already buffed its way right back and out. So we'll take a look at one more look at this race replay with Ken Baum Jr. We'll zoom into his front nose as well. So there you can see he does get damage from this incident, but with the way that iRacing's netcode and everything does work, Ken Baum Jr., that would have been not race ending damage, but definitely not allowing him to lead lap sort of damage. That buffs itself right back out, and if Ken Baum Jr. has any sort of live feed with the broadcast, he's probably feeling pretty good about that pops itself right back out. Matter of fact, I think we can chat with him if Ken Baum is up with it. Hey Ken, it's Sean Stam up here in the booth. You got yourself a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Ken, well, we saw you. I don't think it was necessarily your fault out there, that last caution, but driver spinning out right up and in front of you. Man, oh man, you did make contact, but I will say no damage to the front nose. It popped itself all right back out. How's the car feeling for you?
I'm not sure yet. I don't even really know what happened. He just got loose in front of me. I didn't have any time to react to it at all.
Yeah,
I guess that's what happened. It happened so fast, I don't even really know. I just know I got him.
That's exactly what I saw out there as well, Ken Baum Jr. And man, yeah, just letting you know, I don't think that one was on you at all. That's probably been the 2nd to 3rd time that we've seen a driver get loose on their own and right in front of you. Nice evasive action. It's fun to see you up here leading laps. You got a fast Toyota Camry. Is there anything that you'd like to say out here before we go back to green flag racing?
Yeah, just like to thank the boys T2T, where we put a rocket ship together, and hopefully we can hold it together for these last, 35 laps.
There you go, Ken. Hopefully you can as well. You've got that rocket ship been on rails. Best of luck here to you rest of the race, man.
Thank you.
That is so cool that we've kind of been able to incorporate that within the broadcast here recently. And as Ken Baum Jr. said, you heard it from the man himself. It happened all so fast. He probably think that he kind of turns the Susie machine up there in front of him, but I don't necessarily think so. It was there was no contact. It was close, but as Ken Baum Jr. continues to work his way up and into the pack, now leading laps this time across the stripe with only 37 laps to go. Ken Baum Jr. last on pit lane at lap number 99. The next driver back who is on pit lane in newer tires would be Willie Hobart and the driver of the number 13. William up and down to P5 as he continues to work his way closer and closer towards the front of the pack. He's got inside right there. He's now clear to the inside. Anthony Bay works his way up and into P4. Here comes Andrew May up into P3. This is going to be a handful between P3 and 4. Andrew May, Anthony Bay, tongue twisting action. So Stan Mayberry, big action out there on that outside wall in 4. He's going to beat, he's going to bang it, he's going to keep it rolling back up into that battle between him and Stefan Oberstadt and David Spiel Jr. Back in, up into this race lead we go. It's Ken Baum Jr. leading Jimmy Barr down the back straightaway into turn 3. Andrew May, top 3. Let's hop on board with the mirror, see what he sees, see what his throttle pedal is going to work into the turns. Slight blip of the gas, and that's just to get that front end to rotate there. Oh, caution on the racetrack. It's out there and in behind him. I think that's going to be the number... Oh, it's Michael Sheridan involved of the number 14 Toyota Camry. Man, Jimmy Barr, also nice race for him as well. He was up there P2 as we unfortunately see Michael Sheridan take the... Oh, what do you call that? The virtual tow down there into pit lane. Unfortunately, enough damage for that number 14 that he is down and out of the count. Contact with the number 27. This time it is the real 27 and Stan Mayberry involved as well. I have to take another look and see how this one happens. Oh, the 14. It almost looked like he just didn't know that David Spiel Jr. was there. Started to come across his front nose, and then there's Stan Mayberry up top. Stan with nowhere to go as well. Take another look at it. Then we'll slow it down here. Here you should see the 14 middle of your screen of Michael Sheridan start to cut down and into the inside line. And then, as I before mentioned out there, just Nitro Racing's number 27, red and black of David Spiel Jr. just already there. And let's hop on board with the number 14 of Michael, see exactly what he saw with our virtual driver ICAM. Oh, it almost looks like he gets tagged. The way that thing starts to go down and around and in a hurry. I have to take another look at that one. I don't think, I mean, yeah, David Spiel Jr. is definitely still there, just moving his way down and around. And unfortunately, oh man, the big unfortunate out there for Stan Mayberry. So this has pretty big implications for not only the drivers that are involved. You see Anthony Bay down in pit lane, Daniel Higgins trying to get a little bit more of his damage fixed up and repaired on his KBB.com Kelly Blue Book Napa know-how. Chase Elliott paint scheme. Looks like Daniel Higgins 4 tires going back on his Chevrolet Camaro as well. Brett Strickler, he makes his way down in pit lane. One of our biggest movers of the night. Jeremy Zarpos Photography machine number 38. And make sure you go hit up our sponsors and affiliates up there in the top right of your screen, as well as Jeremy Zarfos's, I believe he's got a Facebook page out there. Jeremy, we appreciate everything that you do out there for our drivers, our paint schemes, and as well as turn2terribles.com. That's kind of a, I guess you call it a merger there, as we see our Turn 2 Terribles driver, Ken Baum Jr. just chatted up there with him. He knows that car has been fast. He feels good in that Toyota number 2, Jeremy Zarfos Turn 2 Terribles Toyota Camry. But Ken Baum Jr. knows that he is kind of, let's talk about these yins and yangs of the race strategy as we take a look at the pit strategy on the bottom right of your screen. The top 3 drivers, last pit on lap number 99, Willie Hobart. It doesn't quite show it, but he pit on lap 106. 4 tire pit stop, I do believe it was, for that number 13 as well. We also have Dakota Kuhn, last pit on lap 106, as well as Kevin Gibney Jr. And then it's Stefan Oberstadt and David Spiel Jr., as well as Kylan McCarthy and Dylan Clark. We should see the drivers that pit on lap 112, starting with Stefan Oberstadt and going back into David Spiel Jr., Kylan McCarthy, Dylan Clark. We should see them with a little bit more new life in their Goodyear Racing Eagles tires. So we have pretty much 3 different strategies coming within these last few laps of the race. Could it possibly be somebody like Ken Baum Jr. or Jimmy Barr who has continued to work this longer run strategy out here? Or could it possibly be, well, Andrew May included out there with last pitting on that 99, or will it be drivers who last pit on lap 106? Will it be Dakota Kuhn, Kevin Gibney Jr., Stefan Oberstadt, or could it possibly be, excuse me, Hobart, Kuhn, Gibney Jr., or could it possibly be Oberstadt, David Smeal Jr., Kyler McCarthy, Dylan Clark, Joshua Gaiman, Dean Clavitt, Jeremy Zarfos, and Kevin Click, all pitting on lap 112. You thought we've seen the good of it here just yet? No, no, no. Ladies and gentlemen, stick out here and around and make sure you catch the finish of this one. Not going to want to miss a thing. We go back to green flag racing 31, coming to 30 laps to go this time by Ken Baum Jr. He's now clear for the race lead back into turn number 1. Here comes Andrew May. Jimmy Barr battling out there for 2nd and 3rd. Battle side by side from 4th on back. There's Willie Hobart. Nice restart to that race. Wow, Kyler McCarthy, he gets tied off the turn. So far, clear out for P1, P2, and P3. Jimmy Barr will drop back into P3, and here comes those new tires of Willie Hobart. Oh, Willie Hobart's going to get a little bit too friendly with the outside ball, and now trying to side draft the ever-living heck out of that number 12 of Jimmy Barr across the stripe. Willie Hobart's going to keep his foot right up in it, keep that throttle pedal moving, back around the outside line. He's now working the outside of Dakota Kuhn. Nice race for that number 95 after the number 12 and 13 trying to make the teamwork, make the dream work, going at it down, and this time going into turn 3. Dakota Kuhn wrapping that race line, that inside line. There's a little bit more contact with the outside. I believe that was with Kevin Gibney Jr., driver of the number 31. We've continued to see him rocking his way back up into the pack. 4 spots gained in this race restart. Top of 3 wide. It's Kyler McCarthy in the middle of it. There's Dylan Clark on the inside. They'll settle things back down to 2 wide with 28 laps to go. Here's Ken Baum Jr. and Andrew May coming to the stripe. This time 28 laps to go. They'll run side by side. Battle for the lead is starting to heat up right now. Andrew May has that inside line. He's going to work it, trying to get that front end grip, front end speed, wrapping around the inside line. Door, corner, is he clear? Andrew May, just for the time being, clear off of Ken Baum Jr.'s front nose. Turn 2 terribles. Jeremy at Zarfos Photography, 1 and 2. Here comes the number 2, back on the 2-2. Ken Baum Jr. Oh man, he got close to the outside wall. That's exactly what you have to do out of turn number 3 and 4, though. It is a rocket of a turn. You're able to carry so much speed, so much momentum through the corner, but if you wash your way up there out of corner exit, you'll be making contact with that outside wall. And as we see, Ken Baum Jr. looks like he got a little bit of tight out there in turn 1. That allows Stefan Oberstadt to have a nice run down the inside line. Look at all of these battles out there. Whoa, Kevin, no. Jimmy Barr, hang on to it. Jimmy Barr now gets way loose and shot up the racetrack, down and across the stripe. He's going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, if not 5 positions back and into P10 after what race Jimmy Barr was having there. Here's a quick look and see just what happened to Jimmy off the turn. Look at this. Is he going to shoot up the racetrack and leave it this next lap? I think it was that previous lap by, so we'll continue back out here. Battles for the race lead. Andrew May now clear for the race lead with only 25 laps to go. Drivers on the newest tires right now. It's Stefan Oberstadt up in battles between 3 and 4 between him and Joshua Gaiman. He's trying to work that outside line of Joshua Gaiman. Joshua back on the pits on lap 106, but here comes Stefan Oberstadt, last on pits on 112. 6-lap newer tires, as is Kyler McCarthy. Kyler McCarthy rocking and rolling his way back up into top 5. If we continue on between green flag runs, this is exactly what drivers just like Oberstadt and McCarthy, as well as Clark Need, they continue to work their way on those newer Goodyear Racing Eagles side by side for the race lead. Here comes Joshua Gaiman, door corner. He's working the inside. Not quite clear here just yet. This is exactly what Stefan Oberstadt and Ken Baum Jr. want to see. Battles for the race lead side by side. This is as but slowing both of our race leaders down as they are battling for the cleanest air on the racetrack. Clean air equals downforce, which equals grip. It's a relatively easy formula to memorize out here within our tests, which are every Wednesday night, live and streamed on Full Throttle Performance. This Full Throttle Performance Racing League streams live on STAM Studio Network Racing broadcast, and this is what you come to see out here. Battles with coming to 22 laps to go. It's different strategy runs. It's tenths of a second separating lap times. It's now Joshua Gaiman to the race lead. Andrew May slides up the racetrack into turn 4. Here comes Stefan Oberstadt on our newest set of tires. Willie Hobart starts to look in the middle of 3. He'll settle things back to 2 wide and look down the inside to turn number 1. Battles all over the racetrack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, separated by 2/10 of a second each. Here comes Dylan Clark back trying to lead some more laps, trying to back and work his way into the inside of Kyler McCarthy, who runs in the 4th position. If you're newer to the STAM Studio Network Racing broadcast, well, welcome in. I appreciate each and every single one of you joining, as well as we have top 3 driver interviews after this race. After every single race, Joshua Gaiman now door quarter clear for the race lead. He is now passed out and over and back and into the race lead. Stefan Oberstadt P2 and Andrew May P3. That's 1, 2, 3. Here comes Dylan Clark working down the inside line of Kyler McCarthy. Is he door? Is he quarter? Here comes that number 34 in the exit number 4. He's clear. Puts Kyler McCarthy back and into that 5th running position. Willie Hobart, nice run for him, as well as now Ken Baum Jr. unfortunately drops back into P7. That's those little bit of older tire strategies that I was talking about, as he continues to run same strategy call. Him, Andrew May, and Jimmy Barr. Ken Baum Jr. and Jimmy Barr running 7th and 8th there. Same strategy call, same bit of detail on the racetrack. Haven't missed a thing out there as since Joshua Gaiman has taken away the race lead, and we saw some pretty heavy contact out there with his front nose earlier on and into the race. He continued to get that thing all fixed right back up. That Syndicate Santa Cruz gambling machine looking like he's got a royal flush, if not all aces on that front nose. Well, Joshua Gaiman has been the gambling man tonight, and as of right now is the man to beat. Dylan Clark, Andrew May still going at it for that final driver interview position. Kyler McCarthy right back and in behind that final driver interview position, watching them both go at it. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get a little bit too comfortable with Joshua Gaiman to the race lead. Stefan Oberstadt starting to stalk and creep all over that battle for the race lead. Last lap history on the bottom of your screen. Gaiman, Oberstadt. Here comes Oberstadt. Last lap by more than 1/10 of a second faster. Lap 131, more than 1,000th of a second faster, except this time through lap 134. It's it is 3/10. That is thousandths of a second slower, if not runs even, separating our 2 front runners. 16 laps to go. There's been enough cautions. There's been enough fuel put back into these fuel tanks that this should be the battle for the race lead with no more pit stops to go. Continuing to see Gaiman cut that dog leg down, 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 trying to shorten that run, going back up into turn 1. But Stefan Oberstadt continues to draw a bead on that battle for the race lead. Hopping on board is Stefan Oberstadt, continuing to run it in 5th gear, 195 miles an hour into turn number 3. Joshua Gaiman takes away all that clean air, though, runs that inside line on the entrance of the corner, then washes way up the racetrack on corner exit, not allowing Stefan Oberstadt to close that gap on by. Matter of fact, opens that gap to 3/10 of a second this time. Andrew May continues to run that final driver interview position with only 14 laps to go from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That driver of the 22 has been the man on the mission. Turn 2 terribles have been the drivers on the mission, although, unfortunately for Ken Baum Jr. and Jimmy Barr machine, as well as Andrew May, the strategy that they're on right now after last pitting on lap number 99 continues to dig them in a deeper hole, as Stefan Oberstadt has worked his way back up into P2 after last pitting on lap 116. Not able to get a little bit closer to Joshua Gaiman, though, for that battle for the race lead. Next closest battles, you're looking at Brett Strickler, who, remember, Brett Strickler is still shown. If you remember where he started this race, there we go. Here's the graphic I'm looking for. Started 27th up to 6th running position. If there is any sort of extra bonus points that we're able to give out there for drivers passed, as well as most positions gained within one race, and I do believe extreme scoring comes with something just like that. We're going to continue to see if Brett Strickler is going to be crowned as our biggest mover since the drop of the green flag, continuing to have just that as 21 spots gained since the drop of the green for Brett Strickler. Backing up into P6, continuing to rock and or roll, doing just all of it, all of the above. Gaiman still to the race lead, Stefan Oberstadt to P2. And Stefan Oberstadt now closes the gap down to, oh man, it was I thought 4/10 of a second going into turn 1. It'll drop its way back into the 5/10 and continuing to grow on the backstretch. Stefan Oberstadt now meat of the sandwich as he's got Andrew May. Hound dog, Andrew May, nothing but a hound dog, and all of that rear bumper of P2, driver of the P number 3, the driver of the number 3. Stefan Oberstadt Chevrolet Camaro. It's 2 Chevrolets leading a Toyota Camry coming within these last just 10 laps to go. If you focus your attention on the top left of your screen, you also see, well, now down into the middle of your screen, Jimmy Barr looks in the inside of Kyler McCarthy. Door quarter here, washes up the racetrack, takes away the spot. Kyler McCarthy looks to kind of set the switch back out there, down across the dog leg, battles for 6th and 7th, going at it 10ths of a second apart. On the left side of your screen is the last lap history, last lap time of all of our runners on the racetrack. You see Joshua Gaiman's last 30.2, Stefan Oberstadt 30.20, so 0.03 of a second faster, but I don't think it's necessarily close enough to close that gap out here. We'll have to continue to see this time by 30.193 for the race leader of Joshua Gaiman and 30.279. Stefan Oberstadt, he's possibly focusing a little bit more on the defense. The defense right now than the offense. Offense as Stefan Oberstadt trying to hold off a hard-charging Andrew May in that 22 Toyota Camry Turn 2 Terribles machine. Andrew May, what a night it's been, as is for Dylan Clark and Brett Strickler. Drivers running 3, 4, and 5. Only 7 laps to go. They're starting to run out of time to possibly make a top 3 driver position happen. But as they've continued to run throughout this race, it has been, I think, some pretty lights out pace between all of them. As I mentioned earlier on in the race, this is exactly what you're looking for between you, your team, and your setup shop. This is our first, I think, real test of the race season. And oh man, golly, Andrew May, he almost made contact with that rear bumper of Stefan Oberstadt. He shot way up the racetrack, way at the L in 3 and 4, that actually slows down Oberstadt and May by quite a bit of time as far as last lap goes. Stefan Oberstadt continuing to lead Andrew May, but at only 6 laps to go, it's continuing to run tighter and tighter and tighter out there between P2 and in P3. Don't count out Dylan Clark as well, as he is still close enough to make something happen as we start to look side by side between Oberstadt and May. Andrew May may have this position after they continue to side draft one another. Coming across the stripe, here comes Dylan Clark. He's going to bring Brett Strickler right up there with him. Final driver interview spot is up for grabs. Here comes Dylan Clark, not a lift in the book. He's going to slightly lift that throttle, get all the sort of front end rotation that he needs, and within 1 and 2 as he slides up. Whoa, hang on to it out there. Who was that? The driver of the 38. Brett Strickler almost loses it out of turn number 2. They continue to run quarters of a second between one another, 10ths of a second, centimeters apart. Andrew May up to P2, continuing to hold off this battle, but Dylan Clark is able to work his way up and into P3, takes that one away from Stefan Oberstadt. Only 4 laps to go out there from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Joshua Gaiman to the race lead by 1 second. Andrew May 0.2 of a second over Dylan Clark. Brett Strickler up to P4. Stefan Oberstadt up to P5. Jimmy Barr up to P6 as well. What a run it's been for that Turn 2 Terribles. Jeremy Zarfos, number 12 machine. Jimmy Barr has rocked and rolled and kept it moving, grooving. Top 6 position after starting. And at the 20th position, Jimmy Barr has had a nice night tonight from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Can he continue to keep it rocking and rolling and hopefully not run in with any Elvis impersonator tonight on the strip as we continue to rock out here in Brer with our top 3 battle. 3 laps to go. Joshua Gaiman just now across the stripe. Here comes Andrew May. Dylan Clark is going to try to make this outside line happen. This time with only 2 laps to go. Andrew May and Dylan Clark continue to work single file runners, but Brett Strickler is dealing with a lot more of that dirty air, as is Stefan Oberstadt, as his tires continue to wear. Brett Strickler shown within our newest tires on this race strategy, but it's continuing to wash up the racetrack. The Brett Strickler continuing to slide up the hill out of turn number 4, keeping that entrance as wide as possible, losing all sorts of speed, but keeping the momentum up there. Joshua Gaiman now leads him into turn number 1 for the final time tonight, but there's Andrew May and Dylan Clark still going at it for 1/10 of a second between those battles. Also, Willie Hobart. Here's Ken Baum Jr. also going at it back and behind the exit of turn number 2 for the final time tonight out of turn number 4. It's Joshua Gaiman to the stripe. Andrew May leading Dylan Clark. That's the top 3. Brett Strickler not close enough to make it happen. Here's Stefan Oberstadt. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It'll be Jimmy Barr across the stripe, Kyler McCarthy, Kevin Click, as well as Jeremy Barsos and Ken Baum Jr. rounding out the top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the driver in the number 61. Back down and in victory lane. Comes into the race second within the point standings. This should rocket himself within first place. It's Joshua Gaiman. Started P11 into virtual victory lane. Joshua, burn this puppy down, down, down. Unless we're saving this engine for next week at Darlington, then that's A-okay. Oh, there it is. Joshua is going to burn it down, down, down. Congrats on the race win out there, Joshua. I mean, what a race it was. Contact. He was involved with an incident or 2. Gaiman, door quarter clear. Santa Cruz Syndicate Gambling. Red, white, and green. Number 61 Nitro Racing Machine. What a race it was for Dylan Clark after leading laps. He'll finish out there P2 and Andrew May, P3 at the line. Brett Strickler P4, Stefan Oberstadt P5, Jimmy Barr, Kyler McCarthy, Kevin Click, Jeremy Sarpos, and Ken Baum Jr. rounding out our top 10. Stick with us here on Stam Studio Network. You're not going to want to miss a thing, as we will be chatting with our top 3 driver interviews, as well as taking a look at our unofficial race results. Congratulations once again, Joshua Gaiman, getting it done out here in gambling country, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Alrighty, here's our official race results on the night. It'll be Joshua Gaiman, Dylan Clark, Andrew May, 1, 2, 3. Brett Strickler, nice run for him out there. I know he's asking for a little bit more. Stefan Oberstadt out of Cockle chassis, as well as Jimmy Barr, turn 2 terribles. That's 5th and 6th. Kyler McCarthy, nice race, nice finish for him, P7. Kevin Click out of turn 2 terribles. He'll finish P8 after up there within the top running battles. Jeremy Zarfos, nice run for him in the Jeremy Zarfos photography machine. Finishing out their top 9. Ken Baum Jr., laps led, P10. Willie Hobart, Kevin Gibby Jr., Dean Clavitt, Anthony Bay, David Smeal Jr., Daniel Higgins, Dakota Kuhn, and George Wood rounding out our top 18. 19 through 28 belong to there you go. Caitlin Hates, Chris Lynn, Stan Mayberry out of Full Throttle Performance Motorsports, as well as Michael Sheridan out of Brent Marks Racing Sim Team. Joshua Susie, Turtle Shell Motorsports. Tyler Shell, the number 85, he'll finish B24. Nathan Burnett, B25. Ryan Smith, 26. Ryan Mueller and Chad Briggs, 27 and 28. 30 through 33rd belong to Matthew Fitz, Austin Griffey, Gary Wright, and Eric L. Schneck. All right, as I'm moseying my way on over and down and into interview lane out here, I believe I've caught up with the one, the only, Joshua Gaiman. Joshua, I think you know who it is up here in the broadcasting booth. You got yourself a copy, man.
I got you.
Well, Joshua, side by side, nose to tail battles out here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You get it done in the driver of the 61. Walk us through it, man. How'd you get it done? God, it was tight battling.
Yeah, I wasn't really too sure throughout the beginning of the race there. I was really battling a tight race car, and just that last pit stop where I took tires, I made a little click here and there, and it just kind of brought the car to life. I was able to get down on that bottom underneath all the dirty air and and was just able to toss it underneath people and make the moves I needed to.
Well said out there, Joshua. Congrats on your race win, and I'm glad that you're going to bring up that dirty air into it. That's something I referenced quite a few times tonight in the broadcast. And can you really go over for our racing fans out there in YouTube land who have possibly never turned a lap in one of these next gens? Can you go over what that feels like inside the cars? I mean, you're definitely feeling that within the wheel as well.
Yeah, I mean, the best way you can really describe it is, you know, the invisible hand comes under the front of the car and just kind of pulls you off the racetrack. You know, it can either be a little bit and kind of just keep the car where it's at, or, you know, if somebody crosses across your nose, it'll suck you right up to the wall with them. And here and there, it just kind of, you know, sometimes it can suck, and sometimes it kind of kills all your momentum, you know. But if you can beat it, it's real noticeable.
Well, Joshua, way to get your headlights down and below that dirty air, at least one of them. We saw the speed, grip, momentum change out there, as well as that late race strategy out there for you on new Goodyear Racing Eagles. Joshua, congrats once again, man. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out to here tonight in your wonderfully painted, gambling-inspired syndicate Santa Cruz number 61?
Yeah, you know, I'll shout out everybody with the Nitro crew. We're putting in work every week, and it's paying off. You know, not 2 nights in a row here, but I won a race last night, Darlington, and here we are at Vegas pulling one together, and just, you know, trying to keep some momentum going. You know, I'll shout out the admins for putting this all together, and you guys for showing everybody what we're doing.
All right, thank you so much, Joshua. That goes a long, long ways back in behind the scenes. Congrats. It's great to see you back up here in virtual victory lane. And can't wait until hopefully maybe next week up there at Darlington we're chatting with you again, man.
See.
Joshua Gaiman, P1 out there from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And that's going to cut it down onto P2 with Dylan Clark. Dylan, got something to copy, man?
I sure do.
All right, Dylan, welcome up here in the top 3 virtual podium lane. Man, Dylan, we saw you out there turning some laps, leading some laps out here tonight. You're number 34, had some speed, had some pace. I wouldn't necessarily hang your head on a P2 finish, because this much speed coming into Las Vegas, I think it's going to be a great kind of crystal ball look into the future between what we got within the remaining races of the season.
Absolutely, I have to agree with that. My Orpac Chevrolet was super fast. Unfortunately, like Gaiman kind of struggled with, was dirty air all race long. Once I was out front, the car was pretty much perfect. I didn't really have to touch it, but man, it's really hard at a track like Vegas to actually get clean air on the nose, because it seems like everybody goes a different lane. So had some good track position there on one of those restarts with fresher tires. Unfortunately got cut up behind whoever it was that missed a shift about 3 times. Got shuffled back, worked my way forward, and then had another caution, worked my way forward again, but ran out of time. I was hoping to get Andrew May there relatively quickly, but he was aero blocking pretty well, and I was hoping to give a fight to Gaiman towards the end there, but just like last night, I finished second to him again, so I feel like I'm kind of being the bridesmaid every time I see that number 61 out in front of me, but you know, it was a good race, solid race. I'll take B2.
Hey, well said out there, Dylan. And like you said, you continue to run out there P2 finishes, but as we've talked about time and time again, consistency, I think, is the name of the game within these newer point standings. And you come into this race, I believe it was 8th in the point standings. You should rocket yourself here quite a bit out here within within a second place finish out here tonight. It's nice to see that you have the speed, the momentum, as well as we continue to work our way deeper and deeper into the race season, first mile and a half. How did the car feel out here for you? Were you liking the setup in the number 34, as you referenced on the clean air as well? Once you got it?
Yeah, it was super good. It was rotating really, really well. It had a tendency to get tight if I overcooked the right front, so I kind of backed off on towards the end there, knowing that I wasn't going to catch Josh out front there. So kind of saved the right front, cooled it down a little bit, and then made one final push at the end there. But other than that, once it was out front, drove perfect, rotated perfectly. Traffic, it was a bit tight, wanted to shove the nose, but other than that, it was a great setup.
Well, Dylan, we appreciate you breaking it down, and hopefully up until next week, until you're up here with us in a top 3 victory lane, or top 3 podium finish, we can chat with you again. Real quick before we let you get going, Dylan, is there anybody who you'd like to thank or shout out here tonight, man?
Yeah, obviously Orpac for coming along and just signed just re-signed with them for this coming season. So pretty excited about that. Talcart, Tally Motors USA, Catalyst, everything they do on the and continue to do over on the racing side. Offset Suits, K1 Gear, Hayden Homes, Celsius, Dick's Sporting Goods, Nike, and Napa. Honestly, it was a great race, and thank you for everybody who puts on the show.
Hey, we appreciate you, Dylan, for putting on the show, race in and race out there with us. Congrats on your P2 finish. Until next week, man. Have a great rest of your night.
Have a good one. Hopefully I'm the top step next year, or next week.
There it is, Dylan. Hope so as well. Best of luck there to you.
Thank you very much.
That'll put us down there with Andrew May, our top 3 driver of the night. It's Chevy, and then Toyota Camry. Hey, Andrew, it's Sean up here in the booth. You got yourself a copy.
Yes, sir.
Man, Andrew, man on the mission. That 22 looked to be on rails tonight. You were flying through them. Walk us through your top 3 finish. How did you make it happen tonight, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really do asphalt very often. I only run this league on Wednesdays. I show up at about 7:45 at the 8 o'clock session. So I'm a dirt guy, run sprint cars and stuff like that. So I just came in and I just drive the car. I asked Kevin and Ken what setup feels the best, and just let her eat. I get a feel for it. Usually 30 or 40 laps into it, I know what I got, and it felt pretty good tonight. We did some practice last night, but it was only like 20 laps, and then I was like, I'm gonna go run sprint cars. That's what I'm good at. So that's pretty cool, though.
Man, Andrew, that is amazing, man. Jumping in the next gen machine, and I know that this has been talked about on, I think, the real life Las Vegas broadcast. Is it's a multi-groove racetrack out there, and you continue. I mean, you can run that outside, that top groove, something that we can kind of see with dirt and sprint car racing. Back to that though, Andrew. Do you like the 410s? You run a little bit less horsepower in your sprint?
No, we run 410s. We run twice a week in the Pennsylvania Posse. We mirror the real life schedule. So that's what we do every week from March to basically November. So I don't know how many thousands of sprint car races I have under my belt, but it's a lot more than NASCAR, that's for sure.
Well, Andrew, we really appreciate you for kind of giving us the behind the scenes look there. I think that's gonna. I mean, the throttle pedal control out there between both sprint car racing and NASCAR Next Gen Machine. We have seen it cross over once, twice, and thrice before, and I think it's cool to kind of chat with one of the crossovers out there. Andrew, is there anybody who you'd like to kind of thank and shout out to here on your podium finish?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to shout out Jimmy and Kevin and Jeremy and everybody on T2T that provides setups or whatever for us every week. That's we don't have a setup shop. We're not a setup shop, so we buy our own and see what feels good. So obviously I want to shout out T2T, JZP, and Big Dog's Voice Changers, DK as well, Dakota Coon, DK Bumpers. Shout out Brett Strickler. He crashed me last week for no reason, so I just want to tell him I love him, and he's the best teammate I ever had.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about. Teamwork, making the dream work happen out there. Congrats on your top podium finish. Hopefully we're chatting with you next week at Darlington, that lady in black.
Oh, I'm excited. Hopefully, though.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Andrew. Hopefully you have a great rest of your night, man.
You too. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. Alrighty, ladies and gents, that's gonna about here do it tonight here for us on Stam Studio Network. I do believe that's top 3 drivers interviewed, as well as our official race results gone over. It's Sean Stam producing, directing, commentating the show. Unfortunately, no Justin Yamatator tonight, but he'll be back with us next week from Darlington, Tuesday and Wednesday night. If you hadn't got it quite enough here, just enough of me just yet, make sure to join in about an hour and a half's time. I'll be live once again out at Watkins Glen, the Apex MX-5 Mazda series. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. You all joining in here tonight in YouTube land, as well as sponsors and affiliates in the top right of your screen. Sean Stam, Stam Studio Network. Until next time, thanks for liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Thanks, everybody.